wanted to start off with, I'll share the screen too, and I'll get to chat in a minute, get input any questions you have there, and I'll get to them. Another part of streaming is talking to the chat, which I may touch on a little bit today as well. But really just the first thing is get a laptop, get a computer. And I recommend you get something that isn't, let's see, we can just type in like, I don't know, laptop. Get something that's not your own computer. I like to keep it separate. Honestly, I would just invest unless you just simply cannot afford to get another computer or don't have another one lying around. But if you just type in, look for just any kind of mid-size laptop, something that I would say 16 gigs of RAM at least, just kind of like maybe $400, $500 range, somewhere through there if you want to get a new one. I always like to get new stuff because I think they last longer. For example, you have less problems, less things to worry about. Yeah, I would say any of these would be okay. 1 terabyte hard drive, 32 gigs of RAM. You're going to want a different type of webcam. I guess you can use the default one, but with all the different 4K and options like that, you get a different one. But anyways, I'd say around $500 would be a solid laptop. Or if you want to do a MacBook, you can do MacBook. I love Macs for a lot of other reasons, security and otherwise. But you can do Windows, different stuff on there too. It's going to be obviously cheaper than a MacBook, for example. But laptop, yeah, again, I think it's best to have a dedicated streaming computer, one that you can keep separate from all your other stuff. And so that way, if you're ever sharing a screen or otherwise, you're not trying to like, oh, I don't want to show this or that. You can help only presenting and only sharing tabs and stuff like that. But just in general, it's cool to, keep stuff physically separate in a lot of ways. So one is laptop. 2, let's look at the camera. So I got, I can't remember the name of mine, but I got Logitech. Don't they make like a stream cam? I want to say it's like a stream cam version. I went through a few different cameras at first, but I think stream cam. Yeah, I think this is similar to the one I have. So this is, it's a pretty high-end one. It doesn't have to be this nice, but I think the stream cam is a pretty cool one. 60 frames per second, 1080p, all that stuff too. I have a bunch of different versions, but I don't know. I wouldn't say go cheap on the camera because different cameras have different abilities to just make the experience better for the viewers. And it depends on if you're on a bigger room, small room, if you got walls, if you got a green screen. I'll get into that too. But I think just having a good camera just sets you up as a strong foundational base for all that stuff too. Coffee is optional in streaming, but I like it from time to time. Coffee, tea, or otherwise just something to, that's funny enough. Yeah, it's easy if you talk a lot during the stream too. Maybe your voice goes hoarse or you need a sip or it just goes dry otherwise. So keeping something nearby where you can just, very easily take a sip or so is pretty good too. So camera, let's talk about microphones. So a lot of different options there. I went through a few. I'd say a lot of people like the Snowball. So that would be the blue Snowball. Yeah, this is like a classic one. Pretty cheap. There's different versions and stuff like that too. But this is like kind of the run-of-the-mill. A lot of people like it as just like a basic mic. There's also the Rode NT, for example. A little bit nicer, different ways. I don't know. I hate to say nicer because they all have their different features and like 50 different kinds of microphones, and everyone has their own favorite style. But I like the Rode NT USB. I can just plug into a computer. I don't have a whole studio set up. A lot of people have they're like these audio files that have all this crazy setup and stuff before. For me, I want a laptop. I want a camera. I want a mic. I can just all plug in USB style, and get an adapter for certain stuff too. And one of my new microphones though that I really like is recommended by DJ Cryptomatic, the Shure SMB7. They also have a USB adapter and packages and stuff you can get with it too. So this is a really good one. This is one I'm currently using. I really like it. It's probably the best one I've had so far. It can get pricey though. The different versions, the ones that come with the different adapters and USB adapters and stuff too. They are pretty awesome, but yeah, they're a little bit more high end. So that's going to run into a bigger budget. But you can also do with microphone. For example, mine is, I call it like invisible. So you can do it away from your face. I just personally don't like to see a microphone. I like it to just look like, I like to have decent sound and decent video and just good enough stuff, but I don't have anything in my way. It's like, I don't know, for me, it just feels like the interaction is more personal. if it looks like I'm just talking into the camera instead of talking into a microphone that goes into the, across the internet type of thing. Just my style. I mean, most people have a mic in front of them their entire stream, or they face it to the side, they face it to the front, they drop it from the top. Depending on your setup, your environment, you can play with it and do a bunch of different ways. But just for my particular setup and stuff, I like the invisible style. So you got the camera, you got your mic, you got a laptop, or otherwise a computer. And then let's talk about, before I get into, I'll talk about the hardware first. Let's do lighting, and then we'll get into StreamYard. So lighting, a lot of times, honestly, you just I like the ring lights. You can kind of clip them places. They're cheap. Not those ring lights. The streaming. These kind of, am I saying it right? Yeah, ring light. Okay, that's confusing. Yeah, so stuff like this. Yeah, there's an actual ring, so you can clip them on different places. You can put them different ways. I hate getting a reflection. I don't like shadows either, but I can't get rid of everything every time. And there's different trade-offs, and you can, there are all kinds of different things. You can play with it and get your own style. And it depends on if you like to stand up or sit down and stuff like that too. But anyways, lighting, you get really cheap lighting. You can adjust the brightness, adjust the hue and different stuff too with it. So that's pretty cheap. And then StreamYard. So StreamYard there's a bunch of different ways to stream. You can do it natively through YouTube and your own hardware, your own software, whatever it is. To me, StreamYard is the only thing that really made sense. I think it's the best bang for buck. I think it's the easiest way to do it. They even record your videos. You can stream to Twitter. It's not free. I mean, I guess you can get started for free, but the free version, they put their watermark and their logo and stuff on it. Can't really change the branding a lot. So to me, it's, if you're going to be serious about streaming and stuff, and you want to have good branding, and you want people to, if you don't want to just advertise for StreamYard, you actually want to advertise for your channel and get a logo and branding and stuff like that. It's like $20, $30, up to $50 or so for different premium editions and stuff. But for me, it's totally worth it because I'm streaming pretty frequently. So StreamYard is the way that is one way that you can connect. You can go to live stream. You can schedule ahead of time. You can add thumbnails. You can tell it where to stream to different locations, YouTube, Twitter, like I said. And it just makes it really easy. You can share the link. You can give a guest a link. You just send it to them and say, hey, show up at this time. They click the link, and they can do it from any device. They don't need to have any special hardware set up or anything like that. People can do it from their phones and stuff too. So StreamYard, pretty much must. So we got the hardware. We got the ability to stream, the service, the platform. So your attire, again, I like to keep my brand, my stuff consistent, like casual clothes, hat, maybe necklace, maybe a Burberry Bear appearance from time to time. Or you just show up. Either way, it's like you're streaming to strangers online. So it's like, for me, I want to prep a little bit beforehand, but it's not, it's not like it depends on what kind of, I don't know. We'll talk about style and content and all that stuff in a bit, but your branding, your marketing, your ability to, just get people to remember you and come off as unique in some way, and not just a general, thing out there that's not as interesting. I think that's important. And then once you do start streaming and all that stuff too, I'm bouncing around a little bit because I'm kind of like, I just got a lot to go through, and I just want to kind of hit on a few points that are overlapping too. Once you choose your branding, you can talk about, you can do like an intro video, or otherwise get introduced into the community. You can kind of set up a profile and start contributing, maybe start being a guest on other people's shows and get used to it. There's a whole nerd things. If you're not good at public speaking or haven't done it a lot, there's a whole deal with that. But practice really does make perfect. Like my last 100 videos or live streams have been much better than my first 100 live streams and videos. Not just based on the microphone, equipment, and camera and lighting, but just the presentation, the format, all that stuff too. So yeah, being honest about your goals with yourself, with your audience, if you want to, all that stuff too, or refining them till you like them and you get them and they're better in whatever way you want to be. But I like it when the subs go up. I like, I got YouTube Studio, and I check it from time to time. And I see subs go up. I see, trends and all this stuff too. And it's nice, but it's not the purpose of my channel. It's like that's, I think You know, for me, it's like trying to bring people good information. I feel like I try to keep informed. I try to take in a lot of content and then be able to curate that and talk about the things that I think are most interesting that can help our ecosystem. Not just help our ecosystem, but again, I'm doing this. I think this is generally for people coming into crypto. If they like our, you know, Hex PulseChain ecosystem, that's great. But in general, just creating content that helps our community. I mean, that's one of the things, one of my goals for the channel too. It's not, and if the number goes up, I think a lot of that will take care of itself. So I don't monetize. I did a whole blog. If you're interested in that, I don't know how much YouTube pays for this stuff. I don't think it's very much unless you're a really big channel. Never heard anyone say that they got rich monetizing, but hey, you know, everyone's financial state's a different way. Some people need it, some people don't. I don't, fortunately. So I just don't even want to be, you know, again, I'm not going to go in the, you guys can see the long form version of this here. I did a whole blog about like talking about different ideas and stuff on that. But I think that's another thing you can decide to do once you get to a certain point. I can't remember what it is. Maybe you get so many views or so many subs or whatever, you can start monetizing if you want. You can flip it on and do all that stuff too. But for me, I don't. And like I said, you check out the blog if you want a long form version of that. So again, yeah, for me, I try to bring people good information. I try to learn myself. It's a win-win. So streaming is like, I can get access to people. I can have conversations for an hour or two with people and ask them my own questions and kind of get like learn myself. And I can scale that and show everyone else and like reuse the content. And well, sometimes it's evergreen content. Sometimes I can make playlists of just like crypto fundamentals. Like if you go to Go Real DeFi and you click on under Learn to Earn, if you go to onboarding, there's different clips there. I mean, a lot of them are just produced videos and stuff. Like most of my content is live streams, and I do almost all of it myself and all this stuff too. Most of the stuff, but some of it I do, you know, get produced by other people or otherwise. But a lot of these are, I mean, some of these even here for onboarding are just clips from different interesting resources or different conversations I've had on the channel. And there's also, so if you go to playlists, let's see, let's just go to RHMax. I'll show you the playlists. If you go to, where's crypto fundamentals? Yeah, a lot of this evergreen content of just like yield chasing, stable coins, deep dives, advantages in the rich ecosystem, MetaMask stuff. Some of it's like about flash loans and just different ways, what luck has to do with it. You know, just a whole bunch of different deep dives and technical content and stuff too. And that's just part of my channel and how I do it. So your privacy, again, I think I like using a separate computer, all that stuff too. Again, it just makes screen sharing easier if you plan on doing that to talk about stuff, either current events or otherwise. It just saves a lot of time because sometimes, you know, I've had guests on the channel before share their screen and oh, I gotta, you know, they shared something, they doxed themselves in some way or whatever, or shared something they wanted anyone else to see, and I got to go back and blur it out or edit it or something too. So it just saves a lot of time for yourself if you just keep everything separate, keep your account separate, keep a browser, use a different browser than you would normally do if you're using your same personal computer. And there's just no benefit in telling people a lot of stuff too, like about your personal life. So, I mean, everyone can choose their own level of privacy and anonymity to the internet. And I got a lot of privacy videos on the channel as well. Click on privacy on gorealdefi.com. Talk about OPSEC, talk about, you know, security and different things like that too. But yeah, so you can choose that. And then again, there's like a whole bunch of different stuff I can talk about. I'm just trying to jump around a little bit, but also keep consistent. Community, again, picking your community. I chose the Hex PulseChain community. Very important. When you start streaming without community or support, you might get a handful of random people each stream, like literally a handful. Like when I first started out, I had a community that I was streaming for, and I still only had sometimes less than 10 people watching some of the streams. It was just like, oh man, it's just hard. The ROI is just hard for that. It's like, I got to have, you know, more people than that but it's always like that in the beginning. Like it's really hard in the beginning. And that's kind of just the hill you got to climb. If you got to kind of expect success overnight for sure. So if you find a community that you get a lot of engagement from, such as Hex and PulseChain community, and you're able to do it in a fair, you know, truthful, honest way, I hope, you can build it up over time, and you can When you tell people about streams, again, I could do hours of just talking about the different nuance and stuff about, announcing streams, talking about streams, tweeting, retweeting, and posting, and different hashtags and all that stuff too. But I'm going to try to keep this more concise. But learning how to do that, telling people why it's important that they watch, or you just build up a reputation where people think you talk about interesting things, so they sub, they like, they hit the belly button, all that stuff too. Shout out there, friend Somi. Then it makes it a lot easier too. But when you're first starting out, you really gotta, again, not clickbait. I really encourage people not to do that. It's just not necessary. I don't think it's a good, healthy thing to do. It's just my personal opinion on it. I like to focus on value. I think if you focus on value, so for example, if you make yourself the product, right? Like if you're selling yourself in a way, again, you don't have to do it in a monetization way or whatever, but most people do. But I'm just saying, if you sell yourself, it's giving people a reason to listen to you or talk to you or give you their time. If you put in the work and provide value over time, that's one thing, your reputation, all that stuff. And then again, you got to be careful not to measure yourself by the numbers. Just like I don't measure myself by the candle color in the bear market, for example. Like I don't measure myself by how many subs I have or likes or whatever. Those are good things to have. I like those little dopamine hits, but it's not the reason I'm here. So I avoid matching my mood with the price chart, candle colors. It takes effort. I'm very deliberate about it, but I'm not perfect, but I think it helps a lot. So focusing on value, determining how you're going to provide value to which community. And again, I think the Pulse and Hex community is a great one to do it. There's a ton of engagement. Every new streamer that comes over, they just get a ton of likes and subs, and people tag them and they say nice things. They get a lot of encouragement. So I think overall, it's a great place just to get your start in streaming. Honestly, like in crypto, it's like, wow, you want to become a Hex or PulseChain streamer? There's a crowd who is hungry for good information for sure. And then be consistent. Again, don't pressure yourself. I don't do a daily show. I think those are just hard to sustain in so many different ways. And I just don't want to spend that much time to come up with things to talk about each day that are interesting in order to do it. So I don't want to sit up here and be like, oh, what do you want to talk about? Oh, okay. I don't know, chat, tell me, do all the work for me, sort of thing. Like, it's nice to have, but I just think being consistent, good information. I schedule out clips. Again, you guys follow up if you have questions, stuff on that. I do a lot of like little things I think are really helpful, but consistently good information, timely reporting on events too is just like a bonus. You can get a lot of views and stuff and help people get information they need quickly if you are up to date on a topic that's happening right now. And yeah, if you give society what they want at scale, that's a Naval quote, they tend to reward you. Like, I think that's the way it's supposed to work. It's pretty cool. So for me, I usually have an hour or two during the day on most days where I can work on whatever I want uninterrupted. I can code, I can create content, I can stream, I can go to the gym, I can do whatever I want. I just sometimes, or often, I guess these days, I've just been choosing streaming to use part of that time for. So you don't have to stream to create content all the time. Like you can tweet, you can engage with the community in other ways. Kaiza, Hex Can Heal, our friend Somi are great examples of just like, you don't have to stream in order to provide value to the community. Somi does videos and tweets at a massive scale. It's just incredible. So yeah, you can just show up and like listen for interesting things to clip and post clips and tag people, and people like that. Like, I like it when people show up and tag things that I think are interesting for my streams, even though I do the same thing too. Like 99% of my stuff is live stream and then clip. So, which leads me into the next part, get really good at thumbnails. I feel I've created, well, I mean, I've got over 2,000 videos on the channel. So I must have created, I must have created around 2,000 thumbnails or so, or more. So yeah, when I first started out, I didn't know what to do, how to put the pieces together, how to connect these things, how to make a good thumbnail. I still don't think I'm the best at thumbnails, and I've evolved and changed the different ways I do it in different ways over time too. But I'm much better than I used to be. And Canva, so canva.com. This is the best website for thumbnails, you can make video. I literally made my entire branding package with Canva. I made a music video intro and outro with Canva before I got someone to make me a branding package and stuff. I did my logo, my original logo, all with Canva. So I don't know how much it costs. It's probably like $10 a month or something. 10 or $20, whatever. But it is totally worth it for content creators because you give you access to AI and thumbnails and videos and just a ton of different infographic type stuff I did with them before. It's amazing. So Canva is amazing. And again, if you're not broke, don't be afraid to pay for things to help you. Like I buy books, I buy physical audiobooks, whatever. Access to content creation tools, Canva, I like Veed.io. I like opus.io, I think, that does like AI short stream stuff. So if you plan to be a serious streamer, like you're probably going to have some sort of monthly subscriptions, like from StreamYard, from Canva, maybe some other ones, but those are the two I think are like indispensable for as far as my monthly subscription type things. Like I'd rather, and YouTube Premium, like just in general, not having ads on you. I don't know how people do it. Like they waste so much time with ads. YouTube Premium, I'd rather have YouTube Premium than Netflix. Like I don't even think I have Netflix anymore. I would not give up YouTube Premium for anything because I need to get to the information I need to get to as quickly as possible. And I don't want to be like muddying the waters with ads and waiting and clicking, and it's just a waste of time. I don't like wasting time. So thumbnails, again, decide if you want to do videos or live streams, what ratio. You can work this out over time too. But again, 99% of the time I do live streams. I clip the content with those with Final Cut Pro. That's another piece too. So that's for Mac. I don't know what the equivalent is in Windows. I could ask Google that. I'm sure there's some probably free ones too, but I never have, again, all the free stuff. I don't know. I feel like Adobe Premiere. Yeah. So you can use Premiere otherwise. So that type of stuff is just indispensable for clips and you don't have to, there's not a big learning curve just to do clips and to do ranging and to export stuff like that. At first there's a little bit of time it takes, but after you get the hang of it, it's so simple. And it's just like, it's a muscle you build, right? Like anything else. And it's not like you need to go take a class and all this, like, video making, all that. I didn't do any of that. I just learned. I'm very good at clipping. I've made some other videos and stuff before. It takes me a long time and I don't want to be good at it. I just want to be really good at clipping because that's what gives me the best bang for buck. I can get videos out on the channel. I schedule videos out these days for the past few months. I've been scheduling out, I'd say a couple videos, at least one video per day. I try to do one video per day, scheduled out. And there's a whole bunch of nuance with that, and not making stale content versus evergreen content versus, there's a whole like calculation goes on with that too. But that's sort of like almost autopilot these days. So I've just been doing it for so long. So Opus for creating shorts. There's a bunch of different short tools, some of them free, some of them not. Decide on your format. Do you want to do interviews? Do you want to do live streams? Do you want to do, during your live streams, if you want to live stream, or if you just want to create videos, you can do interviews offline and then edit them, post them, all that stuff. For me, I think it just takes more time. I optimize towards the easiest way to do things possible. I want to remove all the clicks, all the steps I don't need, so I can just execute effectively and quickly each time. And if I need to spend some creative time on something, I will. But like in general, day to day, and I got a live stream I just did, and I'm like, man, that was a really good one. There's probably like 5 or 10 clips in there. Building that muscle of getting through the clips really quickly is something I try to do. So deciding your format, you want to do that. You want to do interviews. You just want to talk about the news, what's going on. Do you want to analyze topics? Do you want to do TA? Like whatever your skills are. I think that's the big thing I see people being effective though, is not just being a general, I'm just gonna be a crypto person. I'm just going to talk about like whatever I want to at the time. I think if you specialize either in the community and topics and TA or analysis or just metrics and stats or sentiment, or it doesn't have to be nerdy topics. It can be anything. Fundamental analysis. You just want to talk about how great Hex is, for example, or you want to talk about, all the chart data we have on PulseChain so far, or you just want to go through clips of other people talking about this stuff and give commentary. Like there's a ton of different ways to provide value where people think you're actually interesting enough to spend time clicking on your video. But if you're not doing that and you're just kind of just doing whatever. And again, sometimes you'll do that at first, but you'll get in the hang of it. You'll get into your own niche. But I see people being more effective when they specialize in something. So interview people, day-to-day stuff, whatever you want to do, figure that out at some point. And then you can spend some time on your YouTube homepage, making that cool, doing your playlist when you have some content. There's a bunch of, if you type in like YouTube channel tricks, there's a bunch of videos of like little things you can do to make your channel more interesting or effective. And then, yeah, like just decide what you want to stream for. Like, are you going to be informative? Are you going to be entertaining? Are you there to get more likes, become popular, just get good information to people? Like a mix, where's the mix? Where do you prioritize? Like, where do you rank them? All that stuff too. So a lot of people go into it, I think, and they try to be popular. They try and educate others, but honestly, there's a lot of people are just less informed than they think they are. They'll go into it trying to educate people when they're just learning themselves. And it's like, it's hard to do that without having expertise in a certain area. And that shouldn't make people not want to do it. It just should, I guess, it's probably good to be humbled in yourself or self-aware in a way where you're like, okay, maybe I don't say things super confidently when I don't really know, or nobody really knows, but you say it in a certain way. And then there's a lot of nuance. I don't want to get into the drama part of that or anything either, but in general, avoid exhausting your future self with these goals and dreams of rolling crypto and all this stuff. Maybe you will, but just be careful, like what you trade to get there too. If you're exhausting yourself, you're streaming, you're making videos all the time, and you're just doing that, like, what are you giving up? What ROI are you getting out of that? Like, what is your, I think some thought into that can go a long way too. It can go poorly or it can go very well. So I definitely wish you good luck there. And I just want to emphasize again, provide value. Like, being successful at streaming, what I found to be good so far, valuable so far, is providing value. Avoid the clickbait. Go for interesting topics to talk about with interesting people. Like, do what you're good at or get better at what you think other people want to hear about and listen about and analyze. So don't cheat, or don't be surprised if it doesn't last very long, or you don't enjoy it as much as you thought you would, or otherwise. So, like the Naval Ravikant quote, no one can beat you at being you. And that's what I try to bring to my brand too. A very unique brand, a lot of different ways. I've talked about it a million times on the show. So yeah, put yourself in the shoes of someone watching you. Like, would you watch you? And like, can you like see if you can do that or build towards that? Like, what would you be interested in hearing about? Like, I found that helps me find topics a lot too to talk about when there's a slow day or a slow week. And I'm like, man, I want to stream, but I want to like engage with people, but I really don't know what to talk about. I'll just start looking on Twitter and be like, oh, here's something interesting. I could have some interesting commentary on that. I could be helpful. I could explain this topic. Or there's some problem, if you code, oh, I can go write a tool that does this. Now I can talk about the tool. And, there's some other, learning to extrapolate off of that. So engaging with the community, social media, Twitter, real life meetups, online streaming, all that stuff's great. And I think that's the bulk. Where we at? 30-minute mark. Yeah, I think that's the bulk of the streaming portion that I can think of that's most important for the basics. Give you an idea, some of my day-to-day. If you want to know more about my day-to-day, you can ask about that too. But I'm not doing the stream to get everyone in. And I'm literally, I think hopefully this will be helpful to onboard more people into, streaming and being on crypto Twitter or whatever, and give them a perspective and focus from someone who's been doing it for at least a couple of years now.